if it wasn't for basketball, I wouldn't have learned that you can accomplish whatever you put your mind to in this life. Because I've goosebumps saying this, like, this is real Shan. I honestly have no reason to be in this position that I am today because I was so bad at basketball for so long, but I had
Mm.
the crazy work ethic and the crystal clear, vivid vision, vivid picture of where I saw myself in 5, 10 years. And it's only because of that I am where I am today.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, near or far, high or low. Welcome back to the Coach D podcast. And today we've got the man himself, Baylee Steele, a semi-pro hooper who's taken his game around the world, playing in Japan, Poland, Hungary. Listeners, this story goes way beyond basketball, from his adoption story and the lessons his parents taught him about sacrifice to understand the importance of being smart with your money as a pro. We're going to dive deep into the pros of what it's like, but also we're going to teach you life lessons that the game has taught him. So listeners, please give a warm welcome to the man himself, Baylee Steele. Appreciate you, sir.
Coach D, thanks for having me on, man. I'm excited.
Absolutely. And just before we even get started on just your journey, man, I'm super hyped. And kind of just the first question I want to ask, Baylee, is how is your physical and how is your mental?
Great. I mean, physically, I talked about it a little bit on social media. Playing basketball for a living, you're pounding your body in the court every day. And if you don't know
Right.
how to take care of your body, then those little nagging kind of pains, I don't really want to call them injuries, but they can lead into injuries and chronic pain that can really affect you on the court.
Right.
And so I was dealing with some pretty bad pain, but
Okay.
physically now I'm better than ever. I'm 28 and I
Nice.
feel amazing now. I'm finally back to like my college self.
Nice.
Mentally I'm feeling amazing. I can't even believe that this is my job, to play a
Yeah.
children's game for a living. It blows my mind. So I just feel like I'm in a really good place, both
Right.
physically and mentally.
Right. I see. I think I came across your page, and what made me hit the follow, to be honest, Baylee, is a lot of one thing I love right now in today's day and age is we're able to follow the pros, we're able to follow their journey. But some pros, there's only so much that they show, But for yourself, Baylee, I just love how open you are with, and we're definitely going to speak about, eventually the basketball is going to stop bouncing, right? And you're very
Yep.
smart with your finances, you're very smart with all the other things that you're passionate about, and you're very real about, sometimes you've had to make tough decisions, you've had to cut agents sometimes when they didn't have your best intentions at hand. So before we even speak about all of that, Baylee, like, where was you when a ball was placed in your hands for the very first time?
Man, look, so first, yeah, we'll get into whatever you want to get into. I'm an open book.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, look, I grew up playing baseball, right? And
Ah, okay.
that was what I wanted to do when I grew up. I started playing baseball when I was 3, and I just fell in love with it. And as time went on, as you fall in love with the sport and you dedicate your time to it, and you have a work ethic like I have, you're gonna get good at it, right? And so I
Right.
just saw myself playing in the MLB, right? But as I kept growing and seeing that I peaked at 12, 13, that was my peak for baseball. And then I just
Wow.
kept
Okay.
growing. And, I would play basketball in like the winter league and the YMCA league, whatever. But I was always fucking trash, man. I was so
Yeah.
bad. But I just played because I was tall. And I kept growing. And, as baseball, as, as I started to decline in baseball, and falling out of love with it, I kept growing in physically and in basketball. I had a game on my JV team in 10th grade where I had a double double where I was like, damn, this is fun.
Okay.
I like this. And so
Yeah.
when I was 16, I dropped everything and I went all in on basketball. And so that dream of playing pro just kind of shifted to basketball, except
Yeah.
my mistake and really why I started creating content is because I want other people to learn from I don't want to say failures, but from I want my lessons to become lessons not only for me, but for everyone else. And so
Right.
I set a goal when I went all in on basketball, going 3, 4 days every single day to play basketball professionally overseas because I thought that was realistic, right? And now I see that that was a mistake.
Mm,
Setting too realistic of a goal because now I'm in a place where I've achieved everything with this game that I set for my goals, and that's just it's a very shitty feeling, But
yeah.
I'm applying that lesson to the real world.
Right.
Um, but yeah, so since I was 16, I just went all in, and now I'm here. 12 years later,
Wow.
it's crazy, man. 12 years
Yeah.
later.
I can
Yeah.
imagine. I
uh-huh.
can imagine. And like before we even speak about your pro career, Bailey, like, was there a moment? Because I feel like there's a moment, whether you're playing basketball, football, tennis, whichever sport, there's that moment where all that hard work, that training starts to become a part of you, and you're less thinking, you're just more reacting, you're just in the flow where the game starts to slow down, So for yourself, Bailey, like, when was that moment for you when you realized that you was nice at basketball?
Well, so I've always seen it so clearly that I'm going to play professional basketball, right? When I had no reason to. Like I was trash at this game for all almost throughout my whole college career, right? But
Okay.
the first game where I'm like, okay, it's solid. It was our first conference game when I at Eastern Michigan, my first D1 school. I'm a sophomore. It's beginning of January, first conference game against Central Michigan. I had 18 and 10. And it was like
Okay.
all dunks and all middies. And I was just in the zone. That was like my first time really in flow state. And I
Yeah.
loved it, man. But I didn't know what was going on. I didn't see the floor or anything, It wasn't like where I
Mm,
am now. And so that was the first game that, that 18 to 10 where I was just like, okay, solid,
yeah.
you
Yeah.
solid, big dog. Yeah.
Right.
hmm
Right. And I'm always curious, like, when I mean, you said it earlier, like, when you really decided to go all in basketball, like, what was your understanding of? Because I mean, I get over in the US, everyone has the aspiration to play at the highest level, which is the NBA, but they don't necessarily. I've spoken to some pros where they were like, Coach D, like, to be honest, I didn't know much about what the basketball structure was like in Europe, whereas for us growing up in London, we know about European basketball because they're our next door neighbors. So for yourself, like, did you already know about the European side of basketball teams, leagues and stuff, or is that something you just kind of had to learn on the fly?
Yeah, I mean, I knew about it a little bit because of Mo, my biological father.
Hmm.
He's Bosnian, and he played D1 over here in the states at the University of Northern Iowa. He played in Germany for a year or two. His very short pro career.
Hmm.
I was familiar with the structure in Europe, um, but from a surface level, it's not
Okay.
something you can really fully understand until you get over there. You have boots on the ground. Um, but yeah, when I like really saw it was obviously, when I came to Poland for my first year, my rookie
Right.
year, and I was like, oh damn, like if I would have grown up in Europe, I wouldn't be playing professionally just because of the structure, right? Like I was a
Mm,
late bloomer. Started playing when I was 16. I was trash at this game for you know, into my early 20s. And
right.
if you're in order to be successful in Europe, from what I've seen, you have to be that dude from a young age. Otherwise,
Mm,
you're because you're playing with pros.
right. Right.
So the European system isn't so much focused on the developmental side like the States is. So I would say that's the biggest difference. And it makes it difficult for you guys. So
Yeah. Right. And I mean, you've played in Japan, Poland, Hungary, and China, which is an impressive resume, honestly, man. And you're still going, which I love. Like, what's been some of the biggest adjustments you've had to make on and off the court when you're playing in different leagues and countries, even?
Yeah. I mean, on the court, it's eat or get eaten straight up. You know, you're playing against grown ass
Mm,
men feeding their families, you know, relying on this game for their income.
yeah,
So if you don't perform, then your ass is getting cut. And I've been there before. You know, I've been cut a few times before. That's the biggest adjustment, you know, on the court as a pro is that, you know, it's business, straight up business. And if you don't perform, your ass is out of that. There's always two or three other guys that the team is looking at to replace you if you don't do what you're
mm,
expected to with how much they're paying you and what they expect from you. Off the
right,
court, when you're a pro, there's no school, there's no nothing. That's your job. That's your number one thing. And so you have a lot of free time, right? So obviously you can't dedicate 16 hours a day to your craft.
true,
Can't be in the gym 16 hours a day. You can't, you know, be sleeping, doing the recovery, everything you need to perform. So it's about what you do with that free time,
yeah,
both so you don't drive yourself insane because you know you're just over there alone,
right,
but two so that you know you're being productive with your time. Like that's what one of my OGs told me when I uh, first got overseas is
yeah,
that man. Figure out a routine, establish a routine, and be productive with your time because you're not going to have this amount of free time when you're done with
right,
basketball, you know?
right.
But yeah, those are kind of the two biggest differences, you know, on and off the court.
Yeah, see, and this is something that I'm kind of learning now, especially like speaking with some college players as well. It's like, especially at the D1 level, which you've experienced, like it starts with, at the high school level, you just love basketball. And then when you get to the D1 level, from the stories I've heard, it's like, okay, you kind of learn the business side to basketball, but it becomes your job, so to speak, where it's day in, day out, weight room, film, traveling with the team, everything is about basketball. Then obviously at your level, Bailey, where you're a pro, it's like this is my job. I mean, if I'm not performing, I could get cut. So I mean that I don't know. How was that like for you when you made that shift from college to the pro level? Like, did it take you a minute to kind of be fully clued up on the business side of things and kind of the performance side? Like, if I don't perform, I get cut. Like, I mean, how did you adjust to that, man?
Man, I learned on our first game that this shit is business, right?
Wow, man.
Because it's and I will say it's different now for college. College players are now pro. They're now making more money than they
Yeah,
will
that's
overseas.
crazy.
A lot of
Yeah.
these guys, yeah, the majority of these guys in college with NIL are making more money than they ever will overseas.
Yeah.
That's just the truth, right? Um, but I learned on the first fucking day, on the first game, that this shit
Man.
is business because you know my rookie year, I'm in Poland, PG's 20 star guard, right? So it's me, rookie big man, and you know 5 year pro
Yeah,
big
yeah,
man,
yeah. Big time. Yeah.
and my other big man, I had, you know, we were battling all preseason, and you know they had chose me as the starting center. The other, my other big, he had some problems with his last team where he didn't get his release, so he was not able to play in the first game
Got you.
because of whatever, for everything
Yeah.
in the background. We played a Champions League team, Lublin, at home, and we beat them. Right, he wasn't playing. So after the game, we're all us Americans are getting dinner, and he's like, "Hey y'all, they just cut me. Like I'm out. They fired me, you know." And I am over here like, "What the fuck is this? You know,
Exactly.
you didn't even play, you know." And so that was a eye opener to like, man, this shit really is business. They saw it as we just beat this what's supposed to be a top team in the league. Without you, we don't need you. See ya.
Uh,
It all ended up working out. Somehow his agent is a gangster or something, but he stayed on the team, and it was a great year. You know, we were
yeah.
both on the team for the whole year, and but yeah, that was the first right away. I wasted no time of learning that this shit
Man,
really is
first
business.
game.
Yeah,
Woof.
yeah,
See, and I think the one thing I love as well, man, I think you really show all sides to you, which I love, to be honest, Bailey, man. Like the one thing I love, and I just recently found out, was your support system, your family, and it's not an adoption story that people would assume. It's quite unique in its own way, and it's a beautiful story, man. Shout out to you two pops and your mom as well. But
Yeah.
can you kind of share your adoption story and how that shaped your character and your approach to basketball?
Yeah. Man. So how it shaped my approach to basketball, man. So my dad, right? Okay, we talked about my biological father, right? So he
Hmm.
he came to the States during the Bosnian Serbian War,
Yeah,
1992 to 1996, right? Met my mom, got married. My mom was pregnant. My mom got pregnant. The war ended. He went back home for the first time in
right.
4 years, saw his family and everything. Came back, and my mom says, he was a different person, and he asked her to go back to Bosnia with him. She ended up saying no. I'm staying in the States, and he went back. My mom gave birth to me and met my dad when I was a few months old. He ended up adopting me. They got married. He ended up adopting me,
Right.
and his thing was baseball. He's a baseball guy. That's why I was playing that
Okay.
sport. And so he was always my coach, my whole life. They told me about Mo when I was, 9 or 10 years old, something like that.
Yeah.
And I met him. He actually, I can kind of connect the dots that because he
Yeah.
had a work trip in Canada, and obviously, he's like, man, I want to meet my blood,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so I met him when I was, in fifth grade or whatever. And we stayed in touch, whatever. But I always knew he's 6'8", he played
Right.
basketball and everything. We were talking a little bit, and as I, grew out of love with baseball and in love with basketball, and I had come to that decision that I was going to commit to basketball full
Hmm.
time. And I told my dad. I told my dad that, and you know how parents can be. They can
Yeah.
either support you 100% or be like, "Man, what the fuck are you talking about?" Like blah blah
True.
blah. And I didn't know how my dad would react because that is his love. He loves baseball. He doesn't give a shit about basketball. Now he
Mm.
does, but at the time he was just like, go all in. I support you 100%. And that is a big reason why I'm here. Like, I have goosebumps saying this because
That's
he
beautiful, man.
supported me
Yeah.
in what I wanted to do 100%. You
Yeah.
hear about how parents they'll try and force something on their kids, and it doesn't. It's a bad recipe. It's a recipe
Yeah.
for failure. Um, but yeah, so that's one way how, man, it helped me, get into who I am today. And then with Mo, like, I could talk to him about basketball and everything, but at the end of the day, like, he wasn't super, super experienced in the pro game, but
Hmm.
still I could, I had someone that I can talk to about basketball. Because my dad, American dad, can't talk to him really about basketball. I can talk to
Right.
him about baseball, whatever. But with Mo, I was able to talk to him, with basketball, with the agent situation, with team situation, all that. And so they both played a real big part into, who I am, both as a
Mm.
person and as a player, with this
Right.
game. Hmm.
Right. And honestly, man, that was just a powerful story, to be honest, man, because you really realize just the importance of having a support system, especially when it's family, man, because they are the ones who just really lift you up, and it's just something about getting their support. I mean, you know this more than anyone, Bailey. Like when you get their genuine, undying, unconditional support, man,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
the sky's the limit, man.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and we didn't even talk about my mom. Like my mom,
Yes.
she she is the most loving and supporting mother that any baby boy could ever ask for.
Mm,
She saw the potential that I had when, maybe I didn't even see it. And for
yeah.
no reason, I have no idea how she could even see it. But she just always believed in me and supported me 100%. And she knew that I would be in this position somehow.
It's
But yeah,
powerful,
if
man.
I didn't have that support system, man, like to just kind of reinforce my personal beliefs,
Yeah.
then who knows, because it helped me really see like, man, this is really what I'm gonna do. Like I said, I've said it a lot of times since we've been talking, in the last 20 minutes, like I had
Yeah.
no reason to even believe or see myself in this position so clearly because
Right.
I'm telling you, man, I was an uncoordinated baby giraffe for up until I was like 20 years, 21 years old, man. I'm just out there
Yeah.
running around like a chicken with his head cut off, falling down every other time, up
Yeah.
and down the court. And yeah, man, it's just the support system. It's crazy what it can do for you.
Right. And just even with the lessons that you learned from them, like what lessons from them still guide your daily decisions as a pro?
Yeah. My dad, man, his thing to me my whole life was a job worth doing is worth doing right. And,
Hmm.
as a kid, you don't really understand it, but like if I would do something and half-ass it or like, if I would, for example, like take the trash out of the trash can and set it down instead of taking it all the way out. You're like, man, like what are you doing? Job worth
Yeah.
doing is worth doing right. Like, if you're gonna do it all the way. And
Right.
so my dad really taught me that work ethic. And like if you're gonna do something, do it to 100% of your ability. Don't half-ass anything. Like I saw him. I saw the work he did just to support us. And um, so yeah, just a job worth doing is worth doing right. Like that is the thing that stuck with me like glue, man. That's with me to today, and that's what I'll teach my
Yeah.
children. And
That's what's
yeah,
up.
that's 100%. That's why I am here today because of the
Right.
work ethic he taught me.
Right. I just want to say a big shout out to your support system, man. Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
man, they are amazing, to be honest, man. Absolutely
Yo,
amazing, man. And even just making that shift to some of the topics that you share and just put people on game about is, like money, career longevity, and life beyond basketball, which pros don't really speak about until the playing book is closed, and it's only just now they have to think about it. So I mean, you often speak about being smart with your money as a pro athlete. So what are some of the biggest financial mistakes young pros make early in their careers, would you say?
well, I mean, look, man, like I've had for some reason I've always tried to be smart with my money, right? Like I've
Mm,
always tried because I mean I don't come from anything, and so I
mm,
know that I am the only person I have to provide for myself, in the
yeah.
future. I have no plan B, right? So I
Right.
knew I had to whatever money I made from this game, I had to make sure that I have something to show for it when I
Right.
retire. And I mean, I had friends who play this game and they've made more money than me, right? Like crazy money, but they fucking blow it and
Yeah.
it's gone. And they've asked me for money. And every time I'm like, look, like I'm not the guy to ask for money. Don't ask me for money unless it's,
Yeah.
to invest in your business or something. Then we could talk. But like this money is I say all the time, like it's the easiest money I'll ever make in my life, right? I'm playing a game and I'm getting paid to play a children's game, right?
Yeah.
But this making this money is the easiest because it's a game. It's not really in the real world yet. And so there's just so many people that think players that think this money's going to last forever, or they don't have that long-term mindset, long-term vision for what they want to do after, and they fucking spend every dollar that they make. And
Yeah.
yeah, then they're in a position where they need help when something
Right.
comes up. And so yeah, it's can be tough. But I don't know why I'm like this, but I'm thankful I am.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I can just tell, and I know that you've put a lot of pro players on game just from your social media, but also aspiring pro athletes. They're like, oh, wait a minute, you know what? I'm going to take into consideration what Bailey said so that I don't make the same mistakes that other people have made, and this is something that you preach a lot, and even some of the pros that I speak with on the pod, they kind of say the same thing, like, you're not going to be able to play forever, right? So when did that reality hit you, and how has it changed the way you think about opportunities outside of basketball?
Well, I mean, look, I've always kind of thought about what I want to do after basketball, and there's so many ways to make money in this world.
Yeah.
Business, real estate, investing in the stock market, whatever. Or go and get a 9 to 5, work sales, whatever. So many ways to make money in this game.
Yeah.
But I just for whatever reason, like I said, like I've always thought about what I want to do, and I have no clue. Really, I
Mm,
honestly have no clue what I want to do. But I know that I never want to work for someone,
yeah,
and so that's just kind of what I've always kept in the back of my mind. Like I've never wanted to work, in a cubicle in the office.
yeah,
I've always wanted to do what I want to do, and thank God I've been able to do that up until this point in life. And so my actions today and the previous 5 years are are done with intention to where I can still, live on my own terms and do what I want to do, as I
right,
figure out what that is. So,
yeah, right. And what's just out of curiosity, like what's the one non-basketball skill you're currently developing for life after the game?
I mean, honestly, like right now, it's content and building your personal
Mm,
brand. Like
you're killing it, by the way, man. Honestly,
thank you, man. I mean, I'm just trying to have fun with it, but
yeah,
I I started creating content about my journey, my life, whatever's on my mind, right? You
yeah,
see, I don't just post about one specific thing. It's whatever the fuck is on my mind, I'll make a video
right,
about it. But I have seen in the 13 months that I've been making content, the power of a personal brand, and actually building an audience and building a connection with the audience and what that can do for you. Um, and so honestly, that's the biggest skill that I'm doing right now, and I'm practicing. I'm trying to with each video, I'm trying to make it a little bit better. But yeah, on top of that, just networking too. You hear the saying, your network is your net worth, and so
mm,
I always try to surround myself with people who are in places that I would like to be one day.
right,
I've like since when I went pro in 2020, I was very, very intentional about like who I wanted to keep in my circle, who I surrounded myself with. Whether that's you don't have to be above me, right, financially in this world or whatever. But as long as you have a similar mindset as me, then we can we can be friends. You can
yeah,
be in my circle.
yeah,
But like where I come from, I grew up in Iowa, and there's just a lot of people who just they'll work their 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and then go and drink their life away on the weekend, and they don't really see anything past, looking forward to the weekend to just get
mm,
drunk and then go and work a 9 to 5 that they hate and then repeat. And
yeah,
so I really cut those types of people out of my life, and, yeah, and those so yeah, to answer your question, that's kind of the 2, like, skills that I'm working on is just working on my personal brand, my content, because I really see the value in it, and then also who I'm surrounding myself with.
that's what's up, man. You got to be very protective of your energy, man, and I can tell
Yeah,
you're a man that definitely practices that every single day, man. And just even as a pro, I mean, we can clearly see that you are in shape. And you said like, you're 28, and this is the best shape you've ever been in your life so far. So, during the off season, I mean, how do you structure your workouts to balance rest, recovery, and skill growth?
yeah. I mean, honestly, my off seasons have shifted so much compared to when I was in college and my rookie to second year pro. Right, my off seasons in college and after my rookie year was play as much live as possible, and get in the gym as many times as my body could handle, right?
Yeah,
But now it's shifted in a way that this is my job, right? This is my primary source of income. And I have to think about the risks that come with me every time I step on the court. I'm not a
yeah,
fucking idiot. I I see, I plan out what can happen, right? Like there is a risk. And so now I don't play live. I don't play 5-on-5. Like I would love to. I would love to go play in the Miami program. Like I get asked every weekend to
yeah,
play in this league, and it's great competition. I know it would be really good for me, but at the end of the day, I'm not getting paid to do that, and there is some sort of risk that comes with that.
for
And
sure.
so that's just how I kind of see my off seasons now. So now it's more about getting my body as ready as possible for the season, taking care of it in the weight room, putting on as much muscle as possible, making sure my joints, I'm feeling as good as possible, moving fluid, but also, skill work. I'll
Here we
do a
go.
little bit of what I want here and there, just to get some live reps, but it's mainly just, skill work, one or two times a week. That's it.
Yeah.
And make sure I'm in shape for training camp. But yeah, that's the biggest difference from where I am today, compared to, college and, even after my rookie year. It's just, not playing not playing live just because of, simple reality that this is my job. I don't have
Yeah, exactly.
like this. Yeah, I am the only one that can provide for myself, and so I realize that this is my primary source of income, and so I'm not going to risk that.
Yeah,
Knock on wood, but
right.
yeah, yeah,
I hear that, and that's just being smart, to be honest, man. Because I mean, like you said, I mean, end of the day, you are the only one who can provide for yourself, And sometimes it's not always the easiest decision, Because I mean, people will hear that and think, oh, so it must be easy to turn down a pro and run. No, I'm sure. I mean, you said it like you would love to hoop and play
yeah.
on a 5-on-5, but the reality is you just can't put yourself in that type of situation, And one thing I like as well is you show your skill workouts, how you kind of go from form shooting to taking shots off the dribble and even different types of finishes at the rim. So just in like further detail, Bader, like what's your approach to skill development? Like do you focus on adding new skills each year or mastering your strengths?
Yeah. So you know, when I'm playing, my job is not to bring the ball up the floor, come off pick and rolls, or handle the ball off pick and roll, really put it on the floor much. And there's two types of hoopers and how they train, right? One is
Mm,
they only do the shit they do in the game, and the others who, do everything that they don't do in the game. I do
mm,
that. I have trained like that for my entire career. Like I've really trained like a guard my entire career, just because, as a big man, I think a lot of that stuff does translate into my game.
yeah,
Whether it's footwork, taking a shot. If you can take a shot, off the dribble, you know, different ways of getting into a shot off balance and whatever, then you're going to be able to catch and shoot jumper midi way easier. And so I think that like that's how I approach my training, right?
yeah, yeah.
But the main focus for me this summer, I really have a very good trainer. My guy Ryan down here in
Shout out
Miami.
Ryan.
Yeah, shout out to Ryan for real. He's really helping me with my patience. That's always been my weakness is I've always rushed, right? And so
Okay.
he's really helping me to slow down. We'll see how it translates in the game. Of course it just takes reps, but that's my biggest weakness, and that's what I would say is what I'm focusing on most this summer is just kind of being patient when I have the ball.
Right, right. And even just during this off season, like how do you keep your body in game ready shape during like long stretches without official games?
I mean, you don't,
Mm,
like I'm if I were to go and get thrown into a game right now, like I would be out of shape. You can't
okay.
keep game shape without playing live in a season, right?
Right, right.
You can go play 5-on-5 pickup in this program, and still there's nothing that can compare to the intensity of a actual regular
Mm,
season game.
true.
So I mean, it's just about making sure that gap is not too big, right? Like
Okay.
I'll go into training camp. It'll take me a week to get, two week or two max, to get in like game ready shape. Um, but as long as I'm not just sitting on the couch and
Yeah.
and wasting my time,
Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of how I approach it. It's like when I get to my team, then I'll really get in game shape.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's just about making sure that gap isn't as isn't so far,
Yeah.
from the shape I am today to getting into that game shape. Because the training camp is a bitch. Not gonna lie, you're gonna be working, so your ass is gonna get in shape
Right.
regardless. So that's just
Right.
how I approach it.
Oh, it's funny you was talking about training camp because I remember shout out to Kyla Nelson hooped over here in the UK. Then she got a scholarship to play D1. She said, Coach, she thought she was fit.
Mhm.
She went to her first practice over there and she was
Yeah.
literally they was doing like a drill where they had like 4 bins, but the 4 bins had nothing to do with the drill. It was in case you need to throw up, the bin is easy
Uh-huh.
access. Like it was at
Uh-huh.
that level of fitness. So yeah, it's interesting when you
It's one
say
of those
training camp.
coaches, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh. All right. Damn.
But another thing, man, which I just really appreciate just about the stuff that you're doing with the content is, again, you just show every single level of what it's like being a pro, like not just the workouts or the downtimes, the importance of family support, but also new nutrition and what you choose to fuel your body, and you've spoken about, how you fuel your body. So what's one thing that most hoopers overlook when it comes to nutrition?
Yeah. I mean, look, success in basketball, a lot of, especially young hoopers, I would say, think that pie as 100% basketball and skill
Yeah,
work, when in reality, that's not the case at all. Especially as you get a little older and your body starts to react differently, right? So I say once you have the skill, a decent level of skill where you can go on the court and dominate, that pie goes from 100% basketball to, okay, what am I doing for recovery? What am I doing for nutrition? Am I getting my 8 hours of sleep? Like that is crucial in success on the court, right? Because if I just go and be on the court 3-4 times a day, every day, like I used to, I would feel like shit, right?
yeah, yeah,
Um, Same goes with if I'm just putting bullshit food into my body, like my thing with nutrition, people can really overcomplicate this shit, man. And it's really
mhm,
simple, right? It's just no added sugar and no fried foods, right? Eat whole foods, no frozen foods,
yeah,
um, and protein. That's my thing, is just make sure I get my protein. I don't count my calories, fats, carbs, none of that. I kind of have a good feel on like how much carbs to use to fuel my body based on my workload for the day. Um, but yeah, man, it's really simple in that
yeah,
aspect. And then on top of nutrition, it's what are you doing in the weight room for not only strongman shit, but like how am I taking care of my body so that I can move the way I need to, so that I can absorb that impact that I'll take on the court, to make sure that my hips, my knees, my back, everything feels good. Yeah, and then, sleep. How much sleep are you getting? Like
so true. Yeah,
yeah, like you can operate the next day if you get 4 or 5 hours of sleep, one time, 2 times, 3 times maybe. But if that's all the sleep you're getting, for a week, for a month, then your body is gonna break down. That's when your body recovers, goes into
yeah,
recovery mode. So
right.
yeah, those three things are, crucial for, being able to do what you're supposed to on the court.
Right. And this is one thing that really impresses me about high level athletes like yourself, Bailey. Like it's one thing from the talks and just the things that I've, seen and heard. Like it's one thing to be a pro in your home country, right? Where you kind of know what the food is like, you know the culture, there's no language barrier. It's another thing to put yourself in a whole other country where you have to adapt to their culture, the food, language barrier, and just kind of making that place feel like a temporary home. So when you're traveling between different countries and cuisines, like how do you adapt your diet to maintain that performance?
Yeah. I mean, each country that I've gone to, I had to kind of adjust my diet to that, right? Like in what
Yeah.
foods they have. Europe, it's not so difficult, just because, for the countries I played, it's more like meat and bread type of diets.
Mm.
But yeah, like I said, like just limiting the fried foods and the added sugars. So as long as for me, those are the two things try to limit. Like my thing, my weakness is I have a sweet tooth, right? And
Same.
so
Same.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And so like in Europe, I'll on my cheat day, I'll go in on some Milkas,
Nice.
on some chocolate. But you know, other than that, like just, making sure that you're eating good food. It can be more difficult in other countries. Like when I got to Japan, they are a very, very healthy country.
Mm,
But they have a lot of fried foods and stuff. And so it's just keeping it simple, man, and
yeah,
limiting those, fried foods, added sugars, stuff like
right.
that. And then, you go to China and it's complete opposite of Japan as far as their food quality and health.
Mm,
And so, when I was over there, you find your restaurants, your meals that you like and that are healthy for you, and you just stick to it. So you just kind of figure out, what to eat based on
yeah,
what they have to offer. So
right. What I mean, what has it been like, baby? I mean, do you get a moment where you're like, damn, you're telling me I've played in Poland, Hungary, China, Japan, all from this round basketball? Like, do you get those moments where you kind of think, yo, I'm in a whole other country right now, getting paid. I'm happy with where I am. Like when you have those moments, baby, like what feelings or sensations or memories come flooding to your brain?
I mean, it's amazing that I wouldn't have seen any of these countries if it wasn't for that basketball, right? But
Mm,
I got a couple of things on that, right? Like I met my wife because of this game. Like
man,
the most perfect woman. Like I have goosebumps talking about this right now.
that's
I
crazy.
met the most beautiful, perfect woman that I could have ever imagined being with because of that ball, right? So it's such a blessing to be able to see the world, to meet these people that I would never have met if it wasn't for that. And then also, it makes you so much more appreciative for the country that I live in, that I get to call home, right? Like I went to, I haven't went everywhere, but I've went to enough places to realize, like, look, the States is number one for a reason. Like I played basketball. I lived in the number two GDP country in the world, China,
Wow.
the former number three, now number four GDP country in the world, Japan, right? And I just see why the States is number one. And I mean, it just makes me um realize, like, man, we really are blessed to to be living here. Like each country has their problems for sure.
Yeah.
Um, but sometimes, just going and experiencing different, cultures and how they live, how they operate, can make you that much more appreciative for the place you do get to go home.
Right. And what's a moment, Bailey, in your career where basketball taught you a lesson you could only learn in the real world?
I mean, look, my biggest lesson from basketball that can be applied to the real world is, man, like, look, we talked about how I set my goal, my dream with this game realistically to play overseas, right? And it's because of that vision, that goal that I had for myself 5 years, 6 years out to play basketball professionally overseas. I saw it so vividly. I believed it 110%. And because of that, I backtracked. How do I get there? And I worked my fucking ass off to get there, right? And now that I'm in a spot where I have accomplished everything that I've ever set out to, I've played at one of the highest levels overseas in the CBA, right? And now I'm in a spot where there's a gap between where what I set for myself and what I can only imagine if I would have saw the NBA as clearly as I did overseas. Then I'm in that what if territory. Man,
Okay, okay.
what if I would have dreamed of the NBA and saw that version of myself as vividly as I did with overseas.
Yeah,
And I don't see it as a failure. I see it as a lesson, right? I'm very thankful that I did everything I did to get here today.
right.
But that lesson, how I'm going to translate that to the real world is I'm not setting realistic goals, realistic future versions of myself for where I want to be, because I know how shitty that what if feeling is. It's
Yeah,
a very, very shitty feeling. Um, and so that's my biggest lesson from this game. And that's my um that's what I want to say to any young hooper is like, or person in this life. If you're ambitious, man, do not set realistic goals, man. Just
Yeah.
dream, aim for the stars, man, and land on the moon.
Oh,
Worst
yeah.
case scenario. So
And how is a certain thing like, again, I mean, maybe I'm biased because I come from that European mindset where or I've just spoken with a lot of people where they've had to adapt to being a pro outside the US, and that comes with sacrifice. You're sometimes missing weddings, birthdays, key family events. So hats off to you for going through them. And I think that's an unseen grind that not many people realize. I mean, how do you mentally prepare for challenges like playing in unfamiliar environments or dealing with uncertainty as a pro?
yeah. I mean, look, this definitely does come with a lot of sacrifice, man. Like
Yeah, yeah,
I haven't been with family, for holidays, birthdays, missed so many weddings of my close friends and everything.
yeah,
But I knew what I was signing up for. Like going into college, like going to JUCO and then D1, D1, D1. Um, I was very okay with that. It was a reality that I was willing to accept, right? So I knew what I'm signing up for, but at the same time, um, it sucks, man. It can really suck because as I've started, actually making adult money,
yeah.
I've started to get like my parents, like my dad, I've started getting very like thoughtful gifts, for his
Fire.
birthday and everything. And he had told me on this last gift, he was like, "Man, don't, like every dad says, don't need anything, don't give me anything, blah blah." But he finally like he opened up. He went fucking to the core of that onion. He
Wow.
got real deep with me, and he was like, "Man, look, seriously, don't fucking give me anything ever again. I don't give a shit about any gift you could ever give me. The only gift I want is for you to come and see me,
Mm,
because that's something that I have been very very bad about. It's not going home. Not seeing them, and
yeah.
that's something that he told me that really just fucking opened my eyes up, man. It's like, man, you're right. Like that's the best gift that I could ever give.
Mm,
And so yeah, that's the sacrifice. But talking about some uncertainty, it's like right now I'm still a free agent. I love a lot of my friends are going overseas. Getting ready to go to their new teams, and I still have no clue where I'm going to play. But with the uncertainty, it's about how do you prepare for it? Like I know that I can sign today and be expected to leave tomorrow, or I could not sign for a couple months. And so it's just about making sure that I am in a position where I don't need to accept that first offer that comes my way, and making sure that I'm in a strong enough position to where I don't need to. Like in the past, I've accepted one of the one one of the earlier offers, right? But now I'm in a position where I can be picky
yeah.
with where I want to play, and I can kind of play this game on my own terms.
Right.
And so it's just kind of about making sure that you are in a strong enough position, financially, straight up,
Right. Exactly.
to deal with that uncertainty that comes with my profession.
Right. And just when it comes to, because I mean, there's a lot of people who are learning from you, and you give a lot of advice for aspiring hoops and up and coming pros, like for young players dreaming of playing overseas. Like, what's one skill on or off the court they should master before leaving?
I mean, it's not really a skill,
Mm,
but I would say like the amount of work and dedication it really takes to be successful in this game. There's some players who are naturally gifted and they have all the skill in the world, right? So they don't have to do all the other shit that I have to do, that I had to do and still have to do in order to be successful in this game. But those are outliers, right? There's only a
yeah,
handful of those people. And so if you do really want to play this game for a living, you have to be willing to dedicate your life to it, right? Like I said, like there's so much shit that I've missed just because of what I want to do.
Yeah.
And so it's just, I would say, are you willing to really dedicate your life to it? A job worth doing is worth doing right. There's a lot of people that can go and sign, bullshit contracts for a couple $100 a month,
Yeah.
but are you really willing to go all in on this and dedicate your life to it to get the most out of this game as you deserve?
Right. And I mean, because you've been fortunate enough to play for so many teams at, super high levels, and you've kind of noticed the separator between, the players that just plateau versus the players that just continue to work on their craft. They're obsessed with their game. So what's one habit you believe, Bailey, separates the pros who last a long time from those who don't make it past a few years?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple things, right? So, I mean, one, it's about like we talked about how my off-season training has evolved. It is
Yeah.
now to making sure that my body can play for as long as I want to play this game, right?
Right.
Like if I didn't do um, anything in that pie outside of just basketball, I wouldn't be able to be still playing. I'm 7 foot tall. I really have to pay attention to my body, to my recovery, to what I'm putting into my body, to what I'm doing in the weight room. There's so much other shit that I have to do in order to play this game.
Right.
And so if like your availability is your ability. Your ability is your availability, right? And so
Mm,
if you are not able to play on the court, if your body is not ready to, then you forget it, right? Especially overseas, Europe, like high level, you're working your fucking ass off in practice.
yeah. Yeah.
It's some of the most crazy shit that you can imagine, of
Man.
what these coaches ask their players to put their bodies through. So if you're not able to do that, then forget about it. You're not going to play any sort of high level. And then
Yeah.
second, your agent. You have to have the right agent that has these connections and these relationships with these teams to be able to place you in a team at a level to where you can play well enough to show these higher level teams, okay, we want to bring this guy up to our level. And then the agent has to be able to continue placing you at higher and higher levels. And so those are kind of the two biggest things that takes, especially as we get older, of what it takes to keep on leveling up in this game.
Right. And this is something that I've really learned over, my time during the podcast is like you might have one team or one league, let's say in France, where their tempo is quite fast paced. You might go to Greece where the tempo is a bit more half court set. Another game where, or another league where the offense is mainly orientated around the post player, or the guards, or they do decoy plays, or they start on the full court press. Like how do you adjust, Bailey, to you go to a new team, new team, sorry, you have to adapt to what the coach wants, how you fit in that role, player expectations. Like, how do you manage all of that? And what's some of the differences you've seen in your style of play when you're playing in some of these different leagues and teams?
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's basketball. This is
That's
a
true.
game. It's
Yeah, that's true.
like each league has their differences. Like China's very very fast paced. It's
Mm,
very similar to NBA style of play, and then other leagues in Europe. Each country kind of plays a little different. But at the end of the day, like it's just basketball, and we do what we always do. On
yeah,
the court or off the court, we just adapt. And so like for example, you go and play in Italy, right? Or Spain. Let's talk about Spain, right? It's much higher level.
yeah,
You're not going to get as many possessions as you would as these other leagues, right? But if you play solid in your role that you have there, then you will be able to play at a higher level. Get paid much more money to just by showing that you can adapt to that role, to that difference in play. But yeah, like at the end of the day, it's just about adapting, man, and just playing the game. How you are expected to by the coach in whatever situation that you're in.
right. Yeah, this is something, just a final point before we wrap up the podcast with a segment that I like to call Beyond the Game. Like, it was an interesting perspective because I was like, to be honest, when you said this and you shared this on your platform, it got me out of my coaching mind and put me back into that player mind where, as a coach, objectively, I love watching film, because I'm looking at, as a team perspective, what offense they run, how we can counter and stuff. But I honestly, Bailey, I appreciated your perspective because, and it, to be honest, made me a better coach because it was like, I preach a lot of watch film, but I have to understand that I need to adapt to the players or the team that's in front of me. Not every player needs to look at film because that overcomplicates things. And then they're thinking about what they saw in the film versus what the defense is giving them, Because at the end of the day, as my job as a coach is to, yes, instill confidence and to build a structure around them, but it's just to keep the game as simple as possible. Who's the best shooter? Number 10, don't let him shoot. That simple. So why did you mean that message that you were sharing? Because it was quite spot on and it kind of gives life to players who think I have to watch film. So why did you mean that message?
Yeah. So look, there's two types of film, right?
Yeah.
There's, scouting your other team, what sets are they running, who are their guys, et cetera. And then
Yeah.
there's individual film, how can you watch film on yourself to, limit your mistakes, right? Team film, I'm going into every game. I know every fucking set that they play. I know the majority of the sets that they run
Right.
most of the time. I know the players and everything. But as far as watching film on myself, I take a different approach because of what I experienced, right? This is from personal experience. Throughout college, my up to my rookie year, I would watch so much fucking film on myself and it would overcomplicate shit for me. And I
Yeah.
would see that I am overthinking shit. When you're at your best when you're in flow state, right? For me, every one of my best games, I'm not thinking at all. I'm fucking flowing. I'm in the zone. The best feeling in the world. That's the feeling that we chase as basketball players, right? That's part of the reason why I'm still playing this game. I absolutely love that feeling. Nothing matches it. And when I watch film on myself, I see that I just start to overthink it, and I cannot enter that flow state. So I'm a worse player because of that. And so after my rookie year, I took the approach, fuck it, I don't give a shit. Like, I'm going out there, I seriously do not give a fuck. If I shoot a 3 and coach bitches me the fuck out, wait until I make this next 3 and then see if you clap,
that
right?
part. That part.
I don't give a fuck at all. And so when I started treating, I don't want to say treating the game like that because I really care about this game. It gave me everything in this life. But when I started seeing that is the mindset that you need to have, for me, that I have to have in order to perform at my best, is to have a fuck it attitude and not give a shit and just play my game. That's when I'm at my best. And so that's why I don't watch film on myself at all. When it comes to team film, I know every single play that the other team's running. I know the best players. I know the tendencies and everything. But as far as myself, and for me, it's a waste of my time. It just makes me overthink shit.
Yeah, it makes sense, man. It really does make. And like you said, man, like it's getting into that flow state, like when you're really not thinking, like everything is just happening in that moment, and you're already seeing things. You're already seeing that double team or where the help is coming from, or you already see the person's about to block, so you pump fake. It's just all in flow, So I love that, man. I
Yeah.
love that. And kind of just finishing up with the Beyond the Game segment, and I'm super intrigued to get your mind on this, Beatty. Now, this could go the life route or the basketball route with this question. It's whichever one resonates with you the most, or it could be both. But for yourself, Bailey, what would you say is a skill that is taught by many, but only mastered by a few?
That's a deep question. Skill is taught by many, but only mastered by few.
Hmm.
Um, let's see what comes to mind. I would say a pretty common saying is to, keep it simple. Like if we follow the 80-20 principle, like 80% of your results are from 20% of your work, 20% of your time spent. There's a lot of people that talk about, keeping it simple and all that, but then for whatever reason, they go and try and do too much, whether it's in the game or whether it's in business, they try and do too many things. But I think that the ones who really do master that to really keep it simple and only focus on one thing, um, outside of Elon Musk, fucking crazy dude
Yeah.
who can do, Tesla, Starlink, um, what all his other endeavors he's got going
Yeah.
on. Um, Everyone else that has mastered that keep it simple are the top 0.01% of their field, whether it's, call it Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. Like they have always focused, their time on the very specific um part of their life or whatever it is that they get the greatest
Right.
return on. Um Yeah, I would say that's it, 'cause it's very, very tough to, keep it simple and to really go all in on that 20%.
True.
So, yeah,
True. That's a
that's what
good
comes to
one.
mind for me.
That's a good one. Okay.
Mhm.
Next one. Best piece of advice you've ever received.
Yeah, um, yeah, job worth doing is worth doing right, and it's
Mm,
why I am
shout out to
it's why
Pops.
I
Yep.
am yeah, for real. It's why I am who I am today, it's how I got here, and yeah, job worth doing is worth doing right.
Right. Next one. This one is more of a statement, and you have to fill in the blank of that statement. So the statement is, if it wasn't for basketball, I wouldn't have learned filling the blank about myself.
If it wasn't for basketball, I wouldn't have learned that you can accomplish whatever you put your mind to in this life. Because I've goosebumps saying this. Like, this is real shit, man. I honestly have no reason to be in this position that I am today because I was so fucking bad at basketball for so long, but I had
Mm,
the crazy work ethic and the crystal clear, vivid picture of where I saw myself in 5, 10 years. And it's only because of that I am where I am today. And so that's the same thing. I wouldn't have seen that. I wouldn't have learned that about life in general if it wasn't for that.
right.
Mhm.
I love that, man. Seriously.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that, man.
Mhm.
Um, Final one. I'm gonna paint the picture for you, Bailey. So there's someone who's been following your career, from college all the way to the pros, and they follow you on social media, and they've just learned that you've done a autobiography. So they've gone to their nearest store and they're asking the librarian, "Yeah, do you know where I can find the autobiography of Baylee Steele?" And the librarian said, "Yeah, sure. You just go upstairs. You go to the best-selling sports section. You can't miss it. It's on the top shelf." So he's going up the stairs with his backpack on. He's super excited, Bailey, and he grabs your book, Bailey. And the question that I want to ask you is, what would the title of your autobiography be?
That's great. That's great. Um, yeah, I think I could have a couple different titles
Oh,
depending on
nice, nice.
how I would wanna structure it. But I think it would be something along the lines of probably something like how I achieved what I wasn't supposed to, or something like your thoughts are your reality, something like that. I would
Yeah.
have to work with my editor on that and everything,
Yeah,
but it
yeah,
would it would be something like with that message, you know,
yeah,
something like
yeah.
that.
Why do you mean that? Because that's I mean, those are two powerful statements, man.
Yeah, it just because that's reality. I just because of where I feel like I'm repeating myself, but like really I have no reason to be here in this position today. It's only because of that vision that I saw of myself, um, and how vividly I saw it. The thoughts that have been in my mind over the last 5 years is why I am where I am today. Same
Yeah,
thing with the thoughts that are in my head today and for the next 5 years is going to be why I am that person in 5 years because of
right,
what goes on in here.
right.
Simple.
This is, man, this has been a a true treat and an honor for me, Bailey, man. Honestly, this is big time for me to have someone of your level on the podcast and just sharing gems. I mean, one thing I love is, you make yourself reachable, and people can really connect with you, because you cover so many topics. You speak on so many things, just the importance of, family support, really believing in yourself, and also highlighting, it's not all puppies and rainbows, like there's some real shit going on, and you really give people that heads up. Look, if you want to go down this path, you need to get these things in order, or make sure this is all set in place, or at least you just make sure people are asking the right questions, which I definitely appreciate. I'm sure your followers definitely appreciate. And for those who are being introduced to you through this podcast for the first time, and they want to know more about you, they want to continue to support and follow your journey when it comes to the socials, where can they find you?
Yeah, I mean, first, man, Coach D, I just want to say thank you for having me on here. Like,
Of course, man.
honestly, I I said yes to this for a reason, and this has this has been the best podcast I've been on.
Oh
Seriously,
wow, man.
it's been
Wow, it means a
amazing.
lot, man. Thank you.
Seriously, we had a great conversation. So I just want to say thank you, for having me on, and show you I really am appreciative for taking your time.
Thank
But
you,
yeah,
man.
just on the gram, I'm really just focusing on Instagram right now. Baylee Steele _ I'm sure you'll put it up there and
Yeah,
when
for
you
sure.
spell it. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Perfect, man. Listeners, this has been a great one for me, man. Honestly, we appreciate you listening. Please let us know your thoughts. Please, if you're not already, and you don't even have to be a pro, you just want a full round circle understanding of basketball and how life works, please make sure you follow Bailey Steele, man. Honestly, this is myself, Coach D, and the man himself, Bailey Steele, signing out. We appreciate you, man.
Thank you, my man. Appreciate it.